First, I want to give all honor and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to the Akim that's out here pushing this truth, risking their lives to do so. So, we're here declaring the good news, the gospel of this kingdom, which is the kingdom of Yahushai, which is about to be built here. And that this whole thing about Satan being kicked out of heaven is really, it's not talking about the Satan, because Satan means adversary. So our adversary, which is Esau, the so-called white man, is about to lose his kingdom, about to lose his power structure, which is what Isaiah chapter 14 is really talking about and dealing with, And, the strongholds such as stretch Christianity, that we're going to look down upon Esau, and we're going to say, is this the man that made the earth tremble? Is this the man that brought down kingdoms? Because we know it's been the so-called white man that's brought down all the kingdoms of this world. It's claimed to be the G.I. Joe, if you will, the hero of the world, but yet has been the cause of the terror and the terrorism that they claim to be fighting against. Yet they're the ones that are bringing the terror and the terrorism. And these aren't very good comforting words, just like yesterday when had engaged with an Edomite, that took them 10 minutes to figure out that these were not the comforting words that they're used to hearing. They're used to people coming and caroling and telling them that they can be saved, Jesus saves, and that's not the message. That's not even the message of the Bible. That the good news is that, yes, we fell. We fell as a nation. We went into slavery. We went into bondage under the so-called white man, the new Egypt. But we're about to be delivered out of that this kingdom that will come on earth as it is in heaven. Meaning, and heaven usually means power structures. So getting that word correctly, power structure. So Esau's about to lose his power structure. Not very good words to hear, because they've been living it up. They've been telling the lie that America embraces freedom, when in fact it enslaves others. It enslaves other nations. The so-called American freedom. American democracies, diplomacies. That her delicacies are going to be the very thing that bringeth her down to the ground. Because it is drinking with the blood of the saints. The saints being the Israelites, the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans that are oppressed together here, the northern and southern kingdom. For no other time has the northern and southern kingdom both been oppressed together, But in this new Egypt, which is America, here we're oppressed together, You can't do anything in this place without the permission of the so-called white man. You got to have a tax permit, a tax exempt, And that's how you can tell the real camps from the fake camps, Who has a 501c3 status. ISUPK is listed as a Christian group, where IUIC is listed as an Islamic group. So they already sold out to the so-called white man, And so this is just, they're not very good words that Esau wants to hear. Of course Esau doesn't want to hear this. That he's been living a lie, and that everything that's been built up, even though he knows that America, is based on lies, and that pretty much the news is nothing but lies, that there really ain't some shooting everywhere. And of course this whole false flag with the church shooting, all that is to try to blame our groups, our camps, They try to say that it has something to do with Antifa, or it has to do with Black Lives Matter, or anything else. Because yes, we're opposed to Esau, the so-called white man, but we're not affiliated with these proxy groups, these proxy armies of Esau, which is what ISIS and, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra Front, Daesh terrorists, Takfiri terrorists, all set up by Esau. The same thing with Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and all these other groups. These are proxies of Esau, to make it look like. And the same thing with ISUPK and IUIC. They're just helping Esau in the game plan, which the game plan is, of course, to try to stop this if they could. So, secret agents are going to show up, And like everything else, though, we're ready. We're ready to die for this truth, because we're going to resist the mark of the beast, this RFID implant, that they pretty much are going to make it to where you can't buy, sell, or trade unless you receive it. You know, now you're finding out that a lot of these places are going cashless, that you can't get anywhere without a credit card or an ATM, you know, some sort of electronic payment system, which is what this RFID chip is, to where you would pay with your right hand, you know, pretty much, you know, to get through the scanners and everything. Or if you have it in your forehead, you can just walk right through, you know. And, you know, the fact is, though, is that you take this mark, which is not Christianity. You know, we talk a lot about stretch Christianity being a farce, but that's not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is the RFID implant, because in their right hand or in their foreheads, you know, meaning that you've taken this implant, this mark, so you can buy, sell, or trade, you know. And we can break it down to the UPC code, that the number of his name is 666. You know, the person that created the UPC barcodes, which is what electronic payment systems are made out of. Almost everything that you buy, sell, or trade has that UPC symbol in there. Well, they're going to regulate everything now to where pretty much has to be done by electronic payments. And that's what's coming, and we can see it being pushed more and more. But, you know, of course, they want to try to keep people asleep, because, you know, people have been in a slumber. You know, they worship holidays and they don't even know its origins, you know. Thanksgiving should have been an easy one, because we know that this place was nothing but a slaughter of the innocents, you know. And that no mercy was shown. Every time they claimed that they was showing peace and love towards the Native Americans, which are the tribe of Gad, they brought a slaughter, you know. Said that, oh, well, you go on this trail of tears, you know, and you'll never be attacked again. Then what happened? Esau, so-called white man, broke that one too. 50 years later, attacked him in the Oklahoma territory. It was one of the worst slaughters ever, because they gave him smallpox and had totally killed off the buffalo, you know, just to get rid of them. You know, it was one of the worst slaughters ever. And, you know, it's right there. So, you know, this place, Babylon the Great, it is America. It has drinking of the blood of the martyrs, of the saints. And so we know that it's talking about our people, because the Vatican hasn't done these things. The Vatican, yes, has committed a lot of murders in the guise of, but you know, of you know, so-called Catholicism, and we know about the Inquisitions and all that, but not to the degree that Babylon the Great America has done to our people, because this is it, you know, pretty much that you know, they took away our culture, our ways, which we came over here, that is, the northern tribes came over here so we could keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, because we weren't keeping them before, which is why we escaped the Assyrian Empire to come over here and keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, because we know that we had fucked up, pretty much, you know, and so we started keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments over here. But like everything else, because we did fuck up and we fell under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, we knew that there was still going to be retribution for that. And that is when Esau came into power, you know, when he ascended out of the pit, came back into power, he eventually came over here and slaughtered us, because he had but a short time, you know, as in Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. You know, when the 1,000 years have expired, which was the time period, you know, when the Renaissance happened and they took down our images and put theirs up, you know, and said that this is the man you should worship, Cesare Borgia, you know, and called him the Son of the Most High, you know, and changed his name to a Greek name, from his Hebrew name Yahushai to a Greek name, Jesus Christ, which is the worship of Zeus, you know, Jesus Christos, which really means all power and honor given unto their Messiah, which is Cesare Borgia, the so-called white man, you know, Esau, you know, and gone to the four corners of the earth, you know, stretched Christianity is all over the world, you know, it's a worldwide epidemic. It's an epidemic because it's a falsehood, you know, and it's diseased and plagued our people, you know, because when they hear the name Jesus Christ, they immediately think of Cesare Borgia, David Rothschild today, you know. And so we're tearing down the strongholds and we're saying, hey, you know, this is not sound doctrine. This is the doctrine of devils, which is what Christianity is. Because, you know, well, you can just take a look at the Roman Catholic Church. You know, they meet with all the church leaders of the world, of any religion whatsoever, including Satanism. So you know damn well that, you know, this doctrine of devils, which is what strict Christianity is, you know, is just that, you know. It's replacement theory, the idea that, well, the Most High is not dealing with Israel anymore. Now he's dealing with all the nations, the Gentile nations, you know, because they twist the scriptures, because we were once thought of as Gentiles in the essence because we went off and started being like the other nations, so we were called Gentiles, which was a big-time insult to us, and it's an insult to injury because of the fact that we were pretty much, in the essence of, were chased out of the kingdom, but that doesn't mean that we were done away with forever. This was also a season, you know, so the word Gentile means Israelite foreigner, you know, because you were foreign to this, you know, you did not have this, you know, before, but yet you were born an Israelite, but you didn't know that because you were raised in the customs of the other systems, you know. You know, you were raised Greek, or, you know, you were raised white, if you were like me, or you were raised Japanese, Chinese, but, you know, you didn't fit in with all the other cultures that were being taught there. You know, something always differed there, and, you know, you never felt you belonged. It's because you were an Israelite the entire time, that your paternal side, you know, goes back to being an Israelite, because we were scattered among the nations, so we, you know, pretty much mated with the other nations, you know, and that's what happened to us. And so now we're coming out of that. These dead bones, our dead state, we're starting to come out of that dead state and come to the realization of who we are, and starting to proclaim that on the streets. You know, and this is getting a lot louder, and Esau doesn't like it. These are not comforting words for him. That his heaven, which is this power structure, is about to fall. Is about to fall because Yahweh Shai is about to take back the kingdom. And that he is a black man, having hair white like wool and feet like undefined brass as they burned through a furnace, and he had a golden girdle. And he had, you know, pretty much, he was papped, you know. And that does not match the image of Cesare Borgia, you know. Does not teach that God is love. He is both. He has a lot that he loves, but he has a lot that he hates. He hates Esau with a passion, because he created Esau to be that wicked, to teach us a lesson. You know, and Satan, which means adversary, he uses Satan to test us to whether we're going to follow in his ways, or we're going to follow in pretty much the devil's ways and Esau's ways, you know. And so, you know, now we're coming out of that, and not very comforting words, because these Edomites have been living a lie. And they know that it's a lie because of the fact that, you know, that demon just came upon that person, you know. You see that he just sat down at the bus stop, heard everything I was teaching, but after 10 minutes of hearing it, just, you know, then he decided that, oh, you better shut up, you know, I don't want to hear that shit, you know. Well, the word's going to get out anyways, ultimately, when this place is destroyed, but we're going to proclaim that before, you know, and it's just not going to sound very good to them. So, you know, again, the good news of this gospel of the kingdom, which is of the kingdom to come on earth as it is in heaven, is really about us coming back to our restored state, you know, and that is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Eventually be written in our hearts, but right now what we got to do is come back to him, come back and stop breaking his laws, which is eating pork, swine, you know, pretty much participate in Esau's wicked festivities such as Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's. You know, all these things are wicked celebrations, wicked feast days. And we got to stop. We got to come out from among that, you know, and come back as a people. So I hope this has been edifying. And like I said before, no matter what you look like, if you're receiving this and you understand this, and you're most likely an Israelite, no matter what you look like. It goes back to your father's bloodline. We were scattered among the four quarters of the earth, so we're not going to look like all the nations. You know, and then, of course, the more than obvious, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. However, I do say this much, though, about that, is that you got Edomites also, you know, but if this resides in you, then you're an Israelite, you know. So, shalom, and hopefully this has been edifying.